name is Brett.
I'm Kellee.
And we're going to do a little new segment. It's another vlog type thing, but we decided to call it Creepy Coffee and Conversation. Today, we're actually on vacation in Ocean City, Maryland. And so we're at my parents' beach house and just enjoying some coffee. And we thought, because we're big Halloween, spooky things, and, horror fans, today we would just talk about some of our favorite horror movies. So, right off the bat, do you want to start with your favorite?
My favorite movie ever?
Yeah, your favorite movie ever.
It's not really a horror movie.
Well, it's in the horror realm, and most horror fans really enjoy it, so.
Okay. My favorite movie, if you haven't gathered from my room or clothes that I wear all the time, or my tattoo, it's Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yep.
It's like one of my favorites since I was pretty young. And I've always thought it was really fun. I really like kind of stupid, fun movies. So that's definitely one of my favorites. He introduced me to the cartoon. I know I had never seen it before. Which is sad, but it's very funny. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's I'd only seen it in bits and pieces, and then when we met each other, you told me how much you loved it. And you wanted to, show me it, and yeah, it's really enjoyable. I think we've probably watched it like 6 or 7 times since we've been together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't even own my favorite movie on DVD.
That's
and then
true.
our second date, you had that as a gift for me, which I thought was so cute.
I thought you needed to own it. So.
And now that I do own it, I would definitely watch it way more. I used to just try to catch it when it was on TV. Why didn't I buy it?
I don't know.
Weird. But anyway,
maybe
what's
it was
yours?
just it was just at your disposal, I guess, a lot, so you didn't feel like you needed to own it.
Yeah.
So mine is a little on the weirder side. Actually, Beetlejuice is pretty weird, but it's a lot of people who've seen it really love it,
And a lot of people know what Beetlejuice is.
know what Beetlejuice is. Mine's a little on the unknown factor, but mine is called Reanimator, and it's a H.P. Lovecraft story. It's based off of, and it was directed by Stuart Gordon, and he's made a lot of really kooky, like 80s horror type films. He did one called From Beyond, which is also another good one. But yeah, I love Reanimator. It's pretty much if you love like gore in your movies, like if you love 80s horror, like, and you haven't seen it, like, you really are missing out, because it's pretty much a B movie that's too good to be called a B movie.
I really liked it.
Yeah, it's very critically acclaimed. Like, a lot of critics who have seen it and say it's probably one of the best horror films ever made, which I do obviously stand by it because it's my favorite horror movie. And yeah, I always have a blast watching it. There's just a lot of madness. Like, if you haven't know really what it's about, but it's about these 2 medical students, and one of them, named Herbert West, he invents this serum that pretty much is able to reanimate dead tissue. So, in other words, he can bring dead people back to life. And a lot of the movie is him trying to test it on other things. Like, he tests it on a cat early in the film, and which has the famous quote, "Cat dead, details later." And I actually have a tattoo of it, but that's besides the point.
Show off.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, if you can't tell. But yeah, definitely check out Reanimator. It's it's a blast. So
The favorite movie that I should have said in this movie, because it's an actual horror movie, is Nightmare on Elm Street. What was I thinking?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, Beetlejuice is, along the spooky factor, so.
Whatever. Well, I'm going to backtrack and say that Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, is probably one of my favorites. Only because that was like one of the first movies that I watched when I was younger. Actually, no, I was with my friend Alexis in my basement, and we were watching it, and I was like laughing, and I think she was freaked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like, this is what I want to fill my life with. Like, these are the kinds of movies that I want to watch all the time.
Yeah.
Like, just made in, like, the 80s or 90s. When was that made?
1984, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, they're just so good, but in such a weird way that not everyone else would agree. And they make me laugh.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me that you're like, when I was watching it, you're like, I love this shit. Like, that was where
That
you
was my
realized,
moment where I was
realized you're like, this is the type of movies I love.
Yes.
And
So I think there's probably more in that series that are better than the first. I know you have one that you love.
yeah, I love Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
That's a fan favorite, which
But-
you've never seen, like, all the way through,
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
That's fine.
But like, I don't know. I think it's just that one I hold
Near
deeply
and
in my
dear.
heart because that was the movie where I was like, yeah, this is my shit.
Yeah, it was your upbringing. So we both made kind of like a list of
Yeah.
different ones that we really love. Like some are like favorites of ours, and some are like even recent ones that we've really liked. We also added. There's a number of ones that we have had the same on our
Yeah,
list.
we made these lists separate, and then we started
Yeah.
reading them to each other.
And they were like, "That's on my list. That's on my
Yeah,
list."
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just gonna kind of go down the line and just mention some that we really love. I guess I'll start with another favorite of mine. Is the original John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978, because it is the quintessential slasher film, and it's what created pretty much the slasher genre of movies. Because after Halloween, Friday the 13th came along, Nightmare on Elm Street came along, and you had a lot of these knockoff slashers, like low budget ones, like Sleepaway Camp, even though that has a good twist at the end, like Final Exam, yeah, all these like Slaughter High and Slaughter High's pretty funny.
That score.
Yeah, the same guy who scored Friday the 13th, a few of the Friday the 13th films did that score, but I remember we were watching Slaughter High and we were just like, this is the silliest movie
It
score.
was so good, and I searched for it everywhere. I cannot find it.
Yeah, you can't like get an actual copy of it.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's if you watch Slaughter High, just listen for the score. It's pretty funny. But yeah, back to Halloween. I don't know. It's just I love John Carpenter's movies, and Halloween to me is like that's one of the few movies where I've watched it and the end does give me chills. It just does, and it has such an impact of an ending. Like, of just the theme, evil never dies, just like, Dr. Loomis shoots a guy 6 times and he falls out a window and he goes to look for him and he's gone. And I love just the shot of Dr. Loomis at the end where he like looks and sees that Michael has disappeared, and it's weird because it almost looks like he's surprised but not at the same time, because he's like, yeah, he's just not a human being, like he's just pure evil. And I just love that look, and Laurie's like just pure like despair and like fear, and I don't know, it's great. And you just hear Michael Myers breathing like through the mask and just seeing different shots. You're like, where did he go? And then they had to make 1,800 sequels.
That movie did scare the crap out of me as a kid, though.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And I would be like watching it like like I would be having a panic attack.
Yeah, because there's so many classic moments from the original Halloween, and like every single like sequel has like taken one thing from it. And I remember even John Carpenter himself had said like he did not want any sequels, and
It sucks.
like yeah, he didn't. The only thing he did on the second Halloween was produce it, and yeah. I mean, like, I still like Halloween too. There are some of the Halloween films I still like, but you can't go wrong with the original, and before any part of the series is tarnished, it's just that film. So.
And how do you feel about them coming out with another one?
Oh, the 2018 Halloween, and they just announced that they're making a sequel to that, and it's just like, Jesus. Can you just leave it alone?
Right.
Hollywood needs to make their money. So, nothing, the art of filmmaking is pretty much dying.
I wasn't super angry about the 2018 one.
I wasn't either, because it was kind of just, I mean, they did that with Halloween H2O, where they were, or H20, whatever you want to call it, but they were trying to do that where they were trying to kind of write the other films off again, like, and because like, you know, it went way too supernatural of an approach in the later movies, and this one was just like, oh, Laurie Strode is alive, but she goes under a different name and try to, you know, rebuild her life, and then, of course, you know, you had a good ending. I don't know if you remember the ending to Halloween H20 or H2O. Mm-mm. She chops Michael Myers' head off, and you're like, okay, can't make a sequel from that, and they make a sequel, Halloween Resurrection. It was like, oh yeah, she actually didn't chop off Michael Myers' head. It was Michael Myers switched uniforms with an EMT, and yeah, so Laurie Strode chopped off an innocent man's head. So it's like, oh, of course you had to pull that crap.
Right.
And that movie was garbage. And so when the 2018 Halloween comes out, I was like, okay, they're trying to just rewrite that. It's just a direct sequel to the original. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there was stuff about the 2018 one I liked. I think it was like the best thing you could. They did the best that you could with this type of series, because you can't do that much with this series. Mm-hmm. It's just a slasher film. That's what it is. And they did a fine job. There were things that I complained about, but overall, like, it's fine. Like, it's a good, decent sequel. And then they're like, oh no, let's continue it. Let's run it into the ground again.
Right.
I don't know. It's just, you can't ever just leave things alone, Hollywood. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so my rant is done. Do you want to share another one that you really like?
So I'm just gonna throw these two together, even though they're very different.
Okay.
But Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh yeah.
The first of both of those, I really like. Again, like 90s horror. I just really like it. Mm-hmm. I think it's fun and pretty much really easy to watch. Like, there's not that much to it. They're just... I saw, I think we figured out I was 6 years old, or maybe even 5, whenever I saw I Know What You Did Last Summer in theaters with my mom and dad.
That's really funny.
Like, they really used to show me some stuff they shouldn't have shown me. But, like, that movie, like, scarred me as a kid. But then when I grew up a little bit and I watched it as a teenager, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But I just remember covering my eyes and like seeing the boots and puddles and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it just like scaring the crap out of me. I would walk around like after that looking for people that had boots on. Mm-hmm. But those are some movies I love to revisit.
Yeah, I actually grew up, my older sister really loved those movies. Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was just I Know What You Did Last Summer and then I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Mm-hmm. Like, she watched those a lot, and I was like involuntarily exposed to it, because anytime I would walk in the room, she would like have one of those movies on, and like, so I like have a history of, you know, seeing that, but I don't remember much about them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd love to revisit those with you.
I was gonna say we've watched Scream together, but we have not watched I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Mm-hmm. Scream is great though. It's like, it's such an easy watch, but it's a very clever movie, and I love the fact that a movie like that, it takes all the horror cliches but just twists it in a good way to put it in this own film, and knows what it how self-aware the whole movie is. I was gonna say self-aware.
It was like, don't have sex because you're gonna die, and you know, and like everyone's aware of that. So. But
I love the garage door.
Oh, the garage door death. Yeah, that was a good one.
It's definitely a good one. Mm-hmm. It used to scare me. I mean, it's like not ever even possible, but that used to be like so hard for me to watch. I would definitely be the little kid that was like, no, don't go out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, you had those two together. Yeah, we'll definitely. We should just have a day where we watch all 3 of the I Know What You Did Last Summer
I'd
trilogy.
have them.
I know. Yeah.
You just never opened it.
Yeah, I haven't opened it yet. Yeah.
You watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we'll get around to it eventually. this is just another John Carpenter one. I I won't say too much about it, but I just love, people in a wintry setting and are just stuck, and like paranoia just ensues throughout the whole movie, because it's like, even though how much you try to control a situation, you can't help but like it just goes out of control and no one can do anything about it. And that's John Carpenter's thing. And a movie that was completely publicly chastised when it came out. Everyone thought it was the most vile, disgusting movie that was ever created. But now, like, horror fans that have seen it years later are like, no, it's a really great, really well done movie. I mean, if you get past the whole gory effects, which that turns so many people off when things get bloody and whatever. Not for me. Like, I love that type of stuff, and I know you do too. But it's just such a well-crafted and well-done movie that, like, yeah, you're missing out if you think that, like, it's a trashy movie. It's like, if you're a fan of films in general, just watch The Thing. It's like, I think you'll genuinely be wowed by it. Mm-hmm. So
I thought it was great.
Yeah. And yeah, that's all I'll say. I mean, there's a lot I could go into detail with, but if you're an absolute film buff, like, watch The Thing. 1982. It's great.
Okay, the next one I'm super excited to talk about, and that is Satan's Little Helper.
Satan's Little Helper.
God,
Yeah.
I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
I don't know why. You should have never shown me.
The first time I watched it, I was a little like, this movie's so bad. But I don't know, there's such a charm to it. Like, I watched it again a second time, like, a year later, and I'm like, no, this movie, it straight up is a bad movie. I will say that. It's a terrible movie, but
Very low budget.
Very low budget, but it's such a fun, guilty pleasure of a movie. Like, if you love Halloween, just watch Satan's Little Helper.
And let me give you a little backstory. This boy would bring a pile of movies to my house, like this big. Mm-hmm. And he'd always be like, this one's really fun. I swear we should watch this one day. Mm-hmm. So finally, after you said that to me like 10 times, I was like, okay, it looks so bad, but let's give it a shot. And you were like, I apologize for what you're about to watch. And I'm just like laughing my ass off the whole time. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, and it puts me in the mood for Halloween.
Yeah, the whole thing is like on Halloween, the whole day and night of Halloween. And like, it's just this little kid who plays this game called Satan's Little Helper. And, like, you just cause all this mischief for Satan. Uh-huh. And then, he dresses up as Satan's Little Helper for Halloween. And then it involves this family and then a guy dressed as, I guess, Satan in this world. Yeah. It's like, well, what's the, the cliche look of Satan is like, oh, he's a red devil guy. Mm-hmm. But in this, it was just like, he looks kind of like a wolf with, like, long hair.
Long white or gray hair?
Yeah, like white or gray hair, but it's such a blast, and like, if you're easily offended, you'll probably hate it, but yeah, it is funny though. Like, like if you just know you're watching a bad film, and if you like schlocky stuff,
and like, I don't even want to say that because I kind of don't.
Yeah. Honestly,
I don't really like schlocky stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime I watch those movies with like you, Nicole, and Josh, I'm like,
I love
this. But this one,
it's
good.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable. Yeah. So Halloween fan, you'll enjoy Satan's Little Helper.
And I think it might just be because it's that little kid.
This is one I think that was also on your list. Is Psycho, and there's so many things that have already been said about Psycho, but we've had this conversation several times. It's like, if there's a movie you could go see at the theater for the first time when it came out, I would have loved to see Psycho, just to be with everyone's reactions because this movie really like changed the course of filmmaking. Was like, oh, you can kill off your protagonist like 30 minutes into the movie and it can go in a different direction. And like, I don't know, it's so funny. Like, this movie has like so many cool things about it. Like, when it came out in theaters, like Alfred Hitchcock specifically was like, didn't want anyone working at the theater to let anyone in the show once the movie began playing. they're like, once the feature presentation starts, you cannot come in and see Psycho, because they didn't want to like ruin anything about the movie. And also the trailer to this movie, I don't think you've seen the trailer, but the trailer is so unique, but like in a way it's kind of stupid. Is like, it's just Alfred Hitchcock walking around the outside of the Bates Motel, and everything is like, this is where this happened, this is where the murder was, and it's like, that's the whole trailer. But it's so cool that it's just like, it's just sparks your interest. That you're like, I want to know what happened. And so I don't know. It's just, yeah, Psycho is just forever going to be known as like one of the best movies ever made, at least in my opinion. And you know, it's timeless. The only thing I would say that is dated is at the very end, where you have the guy that kind of explains everything to the audience. I don't know if you remember that part.
I don't know.
It's like where Norman, you know, gets caught, and then the guy just explains literally everything that is needed to know, like spells out everything for the audience. Because I guess, you know, at that time people were probably like, oh my god, like,
what did I just watch?
What did I just watch? And like, but you watch it now, you're like, yeah, like it's so easily spelled out for you. But
we're exposed to so much more like that now. Like at that time.
Yeah, at that time people were probably like, what?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Psycho, that is on your list. So.
And the next one I'm going to talk about is on your list as well.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
And we actually went on a date and saw it on 35mm.
Yes.
The Shining.
The Shining. Yeah, it's a great one.
It is so good. It's definitely one of my favorites. I probably wouldn't have said that to you like after the first time I saw it, just because it was long and I was young and I was like kind of losing interest throughout the film, because it's kind of like
it is a very long,
at first.
It is a very long movie. And
but
yeah,
now,
it takes like 45 minutes for it to get going. Yeah.
But now I wouldn't change a single thing about it. I think it's perfect the way that it is. It tells a really creepy story, and the way that they did the film, I think, is the cast is perfect. Everything is awesome.
That's what I love about films like The Shining, because it's like it wants to take its time and it doesn't care even how I mean, The Shining is a pretty simple story at its forefront.
Yeah.
But like, it just cares about the actual filmmaking. Like, it's like watch a movie. It's like not like, oh, like introduce all your characters and then get the plot going within 5 minutes. It's like, no, it just plays out like in a natural like setting. So by the time everything happens and builds up towards the end, it's well paid off.
Yeah.
And just a great looking movie.
I know.
Everything is
visually, it's
like,
beautiful.
Yeah, everything is just perfectly done. Like,
it's definitely one of my favorites, I would say.
Yeah, so Stanley Kubrick.
Great job.
Great job. Yeah. Is it my turn?
It is, but you just had a lot to say about that because you love it as much as me.
Yeah.
My phone keeps knocking.
Oh, it's okay. My next one is one that came out a few years ago, and this is one that it pretty much, like, when I first watched it, I was like, it was good, but it didn't do that much for me. And now I think it's like a masterpiece, is The Witch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I know you felt the same way. Like, when you first watched it, you were like, okay. You were like, all right.
I didn't really like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember me saying that. I left the theater and I was just, like, really underwhelmed. But then the next day I was like, I don't know, I kind of did like it. And I've never really had that experience.
It's a grower.
But I've watched it many times since then, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it's really great. I really want to see the director's new movie, The Lighthouse, but I don't know when that's going to be available to watch.
I don't think you've told me about that one.
Yeah, I think it's just, it was released, like, recently, but it was probably just very unknown and wasn't put in many theaters. But yeah, I think it's just strictly a film in black and white with Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe. And yeah, so, but yeah, The Witch is like another example of really good filmmaking. Like, it's all in Old English, and I know that's not your thing either.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Because there were no subtitles, right?
No, there's no subtitles, but when you watch it now, like, it's good to watch it with subtitles, because there's a lot of stuff you would just easily miss, because
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that.
yeah, their lingo and everything is, like, it just can go over your head real quick.
That's what it was. That's why I didn't like it in theaters. Probably because I felt like I didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that I am the kind of person, like, if I miss one word, I'm rewinding it because I want to know, like, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wouldn't be put in the movie if they didn't feel like...
It was important.
Yeah. So, theater, I'm like, what is going on? I can't understand this at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I saw it at the house, I use subtitles for everything because I'm a freak. And
We use it for pretty much all movies, unless it's like a rom-com or whatever.
yeah, or if we're like watching like Parks and Rec, I'm like, okay, you can turn it off.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. I just find that very helpful.
Yeah. We've been talking a long time so far. Do you want to take a coffee break? Get
Sure.
some more coffee?
Sure.
And we can come back to this.
Okay.
I can let it charge a little bit.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And do you want to resume?
Sure. Let's start again with Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, that's a good one. We saw it recently at
We did.
the Mahoning Drive-In Theater.
Which was super fun.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that video, check that video out. That's
That's a fun one.
that's our first video we actually did together. Sorry, my feet itch. Sorry. Go ahead.
So you introduced me to this movie as usual. What did I do before you?
I don't know. You had a boring, horrorless life.
I did.
Actually, you had Nightmare on Elm Street and a few others.
I did watch certain things.
Yeah.
But I was also watching stupid stuff like Pretty Little Liars.
Fantastic.
So this is a super fun movie, okay? And it's like all these kids are like making out in these cars and trunks and stuff. And then I guess they like see or hear something in the woods. So they like go to check it out and it's this huge carnival tent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, let's go inside. And they like realize that there's like an invasion of these like killer clowns.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like putting people in cotton candy cocoons and...
They have popcorn guns. And
Yeah. It is as much fun as it sounds like it is.
Yeah. If you have a fear of clowns, you'll probably hate the movie, but when we went to Mahoning Drive-In, there were some good killer clown fans.
Uh-huh.
I was surprised because they showed that in the 2017 It, but I felt like there would be more It fans, but there's a lot of people showing up with like killer clown types merch on. And
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
It was a cool experience for sure, and I can't wait to go back there.
Yeah. My probably my favorite scene from the movie is the pie scene, if you remember.
Yep.
Yeah, the pie that like basically makes the guy's skin rot. And yeah, it's fun. And, yeah, it's fun.
It's definitely, you should definitely check that out if you're not afraid of clowns. Even if you are, you should still watch it.
You should still watch it and
It
get
really
over
is.
your stupid fear of clowns.
Yeah.
Gosh. That's okay. I have a fear of moths, so it's alright.
You have a good reason.
Yeah, one flew in my ear when I was 10. Anyways, my next one is two that I'm just going to combine together. But I love the Universal monster movies. I love really old horror films. I don't know, there's just a specific quality to them that you can't replicate nowadays. And that is the original Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. And both are just equally as good. I mean, I would say Bride of Frankenstein's a little better than just the original Frankenstein.
I agree.
Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein's a lot of fun. I don't know, it's just, classic story. While apparently the original Frankenstein movie is a little bit different from the novel. I've never actually read the novel in full, but both are very highly regarded in their own right. But Bride of Frankenstein, just some real fun classic moments. Probably my favorite part is where Frankenstein's monster, he's still on the run from, this village and all these people because he's a monster and everyone, he's going to hurt you and kill you. But very sympathetic character, and he wanders upon this blind guy in the woods who plays the violin, and he completely takes him in and everything, and it's really heartwarming because he's teaching him, how to speak and everything. And he's like,
We do it all the time.
yeah, he's like, this is bread, and bread is good. He's like, bread good, and and then he's like smoke, and then like he's afraid because he's afraid of fire, but he's like, no, smoke is good, and
Drink good.
drink good. But of
But
course,
it's wine.
yeah, but of course this is a horror film, so things have to go south. But that's like probably my favorite moment from that movie.
Yeah.
And
It's a good one.
yeah, so Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein. If you're not exposed to Universal monster movies, you should definitely check them out.
And stay tuned for our Halloween costumes this year.
Yes. Okay. You can go.
It's
now.
my turn?
It's your turn.
What should I talk about next? I can't even remember, and my phone is being terrible. Cut this out.
It's okay.
Okay, so Texas Chainsaw, the second one.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre too.
So I had only ever seen. Did you just hear that?
I think it was the coffee maker over
Okay.
there.
I've only ever seen the first one multiple times.
Yeah, great. The first one's great.
Except for I had never seen it all the way through, I think.
Okay.
Until I know. And then we watched the whole thing, and I obviously loved it still. But then one day we watched the second one.
Yeah,
And
neither of us had ever seen the second one. And
oh my god, it's so ridiculous.
It's so
I need
fun.
to watch it again.
It's so fun and so
So
ridiculous.
fun.
It's the polar opposite of how the first one is, because the first one's so sinister and gross and like legitimately terrifying.
Yeah, that one is pretty scary.
And this one is just completely flip it 180 degrees, but it's still amazing.
It
like,
is.
It's funny, it's over the top, but it's just 90 minutes of madness, and in the best way. The
Like,
Sauce family.
I feel like the more we kept watching, the more I was just like,
Yeah, it's so much fun.
yeah, we definitely need to get a copy of that.
We will.
But if you have not seen that, you should definitely check that out as well.
You should watch all these movies, by the way.
Yeah, let's stop saying that.
Yeah. My next one, it's a David Lynch film, so take that as you will. Not a lot of people like David Lynch, and a lot of his stuff is very confusing, but I consider a lot of David Lynch movies to be horror films. This one necessarily really isn't a horror film, but it's like a drama / thriller, but it's very nightmarish, and it's Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't say much, but it just has to do with a lot of Hollywood tropes and like stardom, and how everything is not, what it's cracked up to be. And I don't know, it's just a really great movie. You should just watch it. So, Mulholland Drive, and there's other David Lynch films, Eraserhead, and yeah. Mostly all David Lynch films are pretty great. I haven't watched Dune, and a lot of people chastise Dune, but I'll probably be willing to give Dune a shot. I might end up liking Dune because I'm a big sci-fi fan. So, Mulholland Drive.
So my next one is Sinister. And I put that on there because every time I watch it, I still get pretty freaked out.
I actually do like Sinister a lot. It's very good.
I don't really want to go into a lot of detail about that either, but the videos,
Those are what makes it
Yeah,
legitimately
like-
terrifying.
obviously, yes, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. I don't want to say too much about it. I just want to say it's very haunting to me. And I definitely remember like a year ago or 2 years ago where I watched it, and then I think I went downstairs and I watched a cartoon.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. And Babe doesn't ever watch cartoons.
Like, I think I watched like Coco or something like that. It wasn't Coco. It was
It was probably a Pixar film.
something like, yeah. Because I just like was in a pitch black room at my sister's house. You know what I'm talking about? And
I do.
I was terrified. And I never had to do that.
Yeah, it's good, and also I will say about this movie, it has stupid jump scares, but the jump scares, it is actually scary stuff that
Yeah.
happens when those jump scares happen.
I want to watch it again.
We will. We will.
I also saw, how many are there? Two?
There's
Three?
two. There's two. I never saw the second.
The second one is not as good. It's still creepy, but it's definitely doesn't touch the first.
I just heard it was mediocre stuff,
Yeah.
so I just didn't bother.
Yeah. Your turn.
My turn. Let the Right One In is probably definitely one of my favorite movies. Probably one of my favorite foreign films. They did an American remake a couple of years later called Let Me In, which has Chloe Grace Moretz. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad remake, but it just does not capture what they were going for with the story Let the Right One In. Because that one, it's just how very Americanized with everything. It's like everything has to be over the top with certain things. It's like you can see like a foreign film and then the American remake comes out and like everything's just like blown out of proportion. But Let the Right One In, it's just such a melancholic, I don't know how to describe it.
I think.
Yeah, but it's a very like somber film, and I love films like that just carry this like very moody tone, and like just calling it a horror film is kind of unfair. I always say it's like calling Rocky just a boxing film because it's not just that.
It's a good comparison.
Like Let the Right One In, it's just like a story of these two kids and like they just form a friendship and just it turns out the girl just happens to be a vampire, but that's a small portion of it because it's very much just like a movie of friendship and just I don't know, it's almost indescribable, but I really love that movie, so it's a great watch, and I know you haven't really seen it, so.
Oh, we've started watching that probably like 8 times, and it is great, but I've never made it to the end. I've seen most of it. And it's funny because my drama teacher in like 10th grade, that was one of his favorite films. And so he, I think, tried to show us one day in class, but we didn't make it very far.
It's good.
The next one is kind of, I guess I like funny movies.
You like fun horror films.
Terrifier.
Terrifier was
It's not
a lot
that
of fun.
good.
It's not a good movie.
But it's fun. It's stupid.
Yeah,
And
it's a recent slasher film that like we had a blast watching.
it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think, didn't you say they're coming out with a sequel?
I think they're trying to greenlight a sequel. Like I think because the first Terrifier I think was self-funded, and I think they're trying to get the funds to do a second one.
It's really not that good, but I just love it's a clown movie,
Yeah,
and
you like clown
he's
movies.
ridiculous and just so goofy. I don't know. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, he's very charismatic without really talking.
And you look like him.
I don't know what's the face he makes, but apparently I look like
You
him.
kind of do.
Well,
to me.
it's a clown with his face painted. I don't know. It's Art the Clown. That's the guy's name.
Oh, is that his name?
Art the Clown.
That was my grandpa's name.
Yeah, but he like there's some pretty funny moments. Like probably the most memorable one is like a girl gets completely sawed in half from like her vagina down through her head.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's a very gory scene, but I like the beginning where it was like just the two girls and they were in the diner, and like Art the Clown was just sitting there and he was just like,
Super creepy.
yeah, just staring at them. But it's fun. If you like slasher movies, you'll enjoy Terrifier, but it's not a good movie, obviously. Like slashers, unless you like the genre, slashers are hard to come by and say that they're actually really good.
Right.
So, my next one is on both our lists, and it's known to have probably one of the most ballsy endings of all time, is The Mist. And I love it. And if you ever watched The Mist, it was directed by Frank Darabont. He did The Shawshank Redemption, which is amazing. But if you ever watch The Mist, if you're able to watch the black and white version, because that's how Frank Darabont originally wanted this movie to be is in black and white.
And that's how I watched it, and I
Yeah.
thought it definitely changed it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like the regular cut is fine, but literally the director's cut, the only thing that's different is it's in black and white. And I guess because I have it on Blu-ray, and like Frank Darabont does a spoken intro before showing the director's cut, and he said the only thing they wouldn't give him control of was having it in black and white. He's like, it would very much alienate the audience. It's like not a lot of people want to watch a black and white movie.
Which is ridiculous. But
Yeah. But I don't know, it just adds just this, I don't know, this oomph to it.
It's amazing how much
Yeah.
that does.
Yeah, because the effects aren't the greatest in this movie, and yeah, it's just about a dad and son go to the supermarket one day, and just this huge mist comes over top of town, and his son, and all these people are stuck in this grocery store with a mist outside, and you know something's out there, but you don't know exactly what, and
it's killing people. Left
and it's
right.
killing people. So, and this is another one like the thing of just paranoia. I love movies that just put you in one location and just slowly things get out of control. But the ending, I don't want to give away the ending, but the ending is like, it's known to be one of the biggest twist endings of all time. And I love it. And it's what a lot of people hate about this movie is the ending, but I think it's what makes it great because it can piss you off so much, but I think that's why I call it ballsy, because it's just like, shit, that happened. So yeah, The Mist it's awesome. Like, watch in black and white.
Yes.
Go
I
ahead.
want to point out that none of these are in any sort of order.
Yeah, it's
But my next one is Hereditary.
on my
which
list
you're
as well.
probably not shocked by.
Yeah.
But we watched it in an empty theater,
Yeah.
and it was so amazing.
Best movie going experience.
Yes.
Definitely best movie going experience. No one was in the theater, and we watched a great movie.
And me and you were like completely, I mean, we usually sit in silence for movies. We don't really comment on anything. But I do remember looking over at you a couple times to see if you were liking it. I don't really have many complaints. The ending could have been a little bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a very
It was our favorite movie of last
chilling
year.
movie, I guess.
Yeah,
It was
really.
heavy.
It's a very heavy and disturbing movie, and yeah, I think it was my favorite of last year at least.
Yeah. And Toni Collette, did I just remember somebody's name?
You did.
She
Yeah.
did amazing.
Yeah.
I thought she was wonderful.
Yeah, the Oscars are a joke because I was like, she needs at least a nomination, and they didn't
deserved
fucking do it.
She deserved that.
Yeah, like
Let's
the
get
Oscars.
one from us.
Yeah, because the Oscars, they don't give a shit about horror or comedies
Yeah.
at all, and which are, to me, are probably some of the most hard to pull off type movies.
Right, I agree.
But yet they get the
So
least amount of
amazing.
recognition. So, but yeah, Hereditary is awesome. Toni Collette's performance just alone makes the movie, and
And that little girl, what a creep.
yeah,
I'm sorry, that's me.
she was cool. I liked
She
her.
was cool, but shoo.
She was very creepy.
Yeah.
She needed some help. Is it my turn?
Yeah?
Okay. This is one of my favorite movies of the past couple of years. Is The Guest. It's a movie. It's a movie that it's not well known, but it stars Dan Stevens, and a lot of people know Dan Stevens from the TV show Legion and Downton Abbey, but this movie is great. It's just about a guy in the military. He shows up at a friend's house, and the friend who had died like the year previously or whatever, and he shows up to the family and says like, hey, he just wanted me to tell you all how much he loved you, and so things just go from there. And Dan Stevens like makes the movie. He's super weird, just something's not right with him. And this is one of those movies I think combines action, drama, and horror
Very well.
like perfectly.
Yeah.
Like I would say the last third of the movie will lose some people, but I love the last third of the movie. And also, this is a good movie to watch around Halloween time because it mostly takes place around Halloween. So
That is such a good movie.
yeah.
I didn't even think about that one. I'm getting to the end of my list.
Me
But
too.
I do want to add, I didn't put them on here, and they are completely separate movies, but both done by Jordan Peele and Us.
Yeah.
Totally different. And I don't know which one I like better, because they're obviously different.
Mm-hmm.
But we just watched Us again last night for the second time.
Yeah,
we didn't make it to the end because we're old, but...
Yeah, we went to bed at like 10 o'clock, but yeah. But yeah, we watched most of Us again last night, and I still like Get Out a little bit more.
And I feel like I'm on the fence, but like kind of leaning towards Us.
Really? You liked Us a little more?
But I want to watch the end again.
Yeah.
To like really make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Get Out like 4 times at this point. I saw it twice in theaters, once with you, and then I think once another time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. I was obsessed. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was very well done. But I don't know. I think I'm kind of leaning towards Us.
Okay.
I don't really want to talk about them because there's probably been a lot of people that haven't seen them.
Yeah. I mean, because Us just came out this year.
Yeah.
And it's just came out on DVD. So.
And I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yeah. Us,
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, Us is definitely a movie worth a second watch, I would
agree.
say. Get Out is a little more... I've only seen Get Out once, and I really enjoyed it, but Get Out, like, was so easy to...
It's much more straightforward.
It was so easy to digest, and, like, I just thought it was a really good thriller.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so... Both those movies are good, and I think Jordan Peele, like, I will take Jordan Peele's ambitious, like, approach to horror films over top of The Conjuring 8 any day.
I totally agree.
Like
I
mean...
I think he's killing it.
Yeah, I think there needs to be more horror like that. Like, I want to see Midsummer, which just came out. The director of Hereditary did that, but, like, I mean, I would rather go watch stuff like that than watch, The Curse of La Nora. We didn't see that, but, like, I'd rather go see films like Us and Get Out.
Because we watched the trailer 8 times.
Oh, yeah, we watched the trailer 8 times, so we saw the movie. I'm going to go down the list really quick and just briefly mention, because I have like 5 left, but I'm just gonna briefly mention these before our camera battery dies out. So both Suspiria from 1977 and the 2018 Suspiria are great. If you like just filmmaking and visuals and cinematography, watch the 1977 version, and if you like weird horror scores, I would say that's more up your alley. The new Suspiria from 2018 is much more story heavy, and
that's the one I like.
Yeah, I love both of these. Like, we were watching the 2018 Suspiria recently again, and yeah, they're both great in their own right, but I would say more people will probably like the newer one a little bit more, which you can't say that too often, but those both I really like. 2 from Panos Cosmatos, Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy. Beyond the Black Rainbow is extremely slow burn, and Mandy is as well, but Mandy is probably much more mainstream towards the audience. But Mandy's kind of a straightforward revenge film, but Panos Cosmatos, he's the type of filmmaker where he doesn't actually give a crap about the story. He just wants to make a good-looking film and, like, really just bring you into the atmosphere of a film. That's why I like at least his movies so far.
Yeah.
And, like, he even said that on one of the making of Mandy. He was just like, I really just don't care, like, where like this character does this in this movie. It's just like he doesn't care about that. He just cares about filmmaking and likes the atmosphere of the film. And that's why I like Mandy a lot, because it's not just, the Taken type film where it's like, oh, yeah, he needs revenge. So it's like the last hour of Mandy is that, but the first hour is just all set up. Mm-hmm. And Beyond the Black Rainbow is really good, and it has to do with kind of like a mental hospital, and which I know you like that type of stuff, but it's very, very slow and very slow burn, but I've really liked those 2 movies. Also, one I just watched, John Dies at the End. It's the director of Phantasm and Bubba Hotep, which are really weird movies, and this is a really weird movie. And this movie wasn't very well received, but I really love super weird shit. and that's what John dies at the end was. So, and then the last one on my list, I don't know if you have any more.
Trick or Treat.
That's the last one on my list is Trick or Treat. It's quintessential Halloween film.
A lot of people's favorite.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. Yeah. Michael Daugherty now is directing Godzilla movies. But he also did Krampus, and Krampus is a lot of fun.
I love Krampus.
Yeah, Krampus is a holiday classic.
Such a good Christmas movie.
Yeah, same with Trick or Treat. Great Halloween movie. And I don't think I'll ever get tired of it, because it's almost like watching the original Halloween. You just have to watch it every year.
Yeah.
Around
That's
Halloween
true.
time. And it's just so much fun. Sam is a great horror villain.
He is.
He's the definition of cute but scary as shit. Like, you like look at him and you're like, he's so cute, but then you see it towards the end of Trick or Treat, you're like, damn, he actually is creepy and terrifying. But I love all 4 of the stories in Trick or
Yes,
Treat, and they
me too.
all intertwine perfectly. So,
Not that this could ever touch Trick or Treat, ever. But what's the one on Netflix called Halloween Tales?
Tales of Halloween.
Tales of Halloween.
Tales of
sorry.
Halloween is also great.
It's a fun one too.
Yeah, it's a great.
There's 1 or 2 stories that I love.
Yeah, there's some of them that are really fun. I like the first short where it's about the the sister and like boyfriend share the story of Halloween, where a guy, like, his parents like kept all his candy, so he went crazy and like he killed both of his parents and then ate all the candy inside their stomachs or whatever, and it's like, oh, he's gonna come back and take like candy.
But if you leave a candy bar out for him, you're safe.
Yeah, you're safe, and it goes from there. That's a fun one. But yeah, there's Tales of Halloween. It's like 10 stories, so they're all pretty short, and it's a 90-minute movie. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a fun movie to watch around Halloween time too.
That
But,
wasn't on my list, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. Just because I like to watch it every year now.
yeah, it's a good one. And Krampus, yeah, we love Krampus. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, I think this is gonna wrap up Creepy Coffee and Conversation,
Yes.
babe. So hopefully you joined us with some
Coffee of your own.
yeah, some coffee or tea, or if you're an alcoholic, an adult beverage of your own. But I mean, sometimes coffee is all you need. So thank you, babe, for joining me, and
Thank you for having me.
you're welcome, and enduring this very long type podcast type thing. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna edit this and put lots and lots of pictures in there and other stuff. So thank you. So we've been Love Bats in the Belfry. My name is Brett,
And I'm Kelly.
and we will see you in a future video. Hopefully we'll have more of creepy coffee and conversation
We will.
videos in the future. So if you enjoyed this, like, comment, and subscribe. And yep, we will see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.